Welcome to the Man to Man Sports Podcast. This is Brad.
And I'm Ethan, and for our fifth episode, we are going to be going over the Week 3 preview. And welcome to the Dog Den.
That's right. We're down here in the dog den ready to talk some football. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm very interested in what that trivia answer is from our last episode.
Oh, yeah. So you actually got two of the three. We'll start with the third and go to the last team to do it.
Okay.
So the third team was the 2021 Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Started 0-2 and then went into the playoffs. Then you had 2022, the Cincinnati Bengals done it, Joe Burrow. And then in 2023, the Houston Texans were the last team
So
to make the
CJ
playoffs.
Stroud's rookie season came out a little rough and fixed some things up. That makes sense.
Yeah, an interesting note that no one done it last year as well.
Okay.
So like I said in the last episode, only 10% of the teams have ever done it in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's crazy that out of 3 of the last 4 seasons it's happened, but yet only 10%. It just shows that it's even becoming more true that the September games don't really matter as much as the October, November, December games.
Yeah, there's truly more parity, and the games come down to the little things. That makes the difference between Super Bowl champions and picking in the top 10 of the draft.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so we'll get started with our Week 3 preview. We're starting off with the Thursday night game in between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills with a surprising 11.5-point favorites.
Yeah, that is a tall order, but the Bills are rolling right now, and the Dolphins are on the struggle bus.
Yeah, they can actually, the Bills could actually win by 11.5. The Miami is struggling not only on the field, but off the field.
Yeah, and Tyreek's clearly frustrated. He's one of the best receivers in football still, I think, and he can't get the football.
Oh, yeah, last week he's jumping up and down after Tua was throwing it 10 feet above his head. The game management at the end of that game last week was horrendous. They need to fix some things coming into this week, but I think Buffalo just continues to roll. I think they go 3-0, and I think they steamroll Miami. I'll have Buffalo in this game with like a 35 to, let's say, 16 victory.
I was actually very close to that. I was thinking 31-17 Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
And they are rolling, baby.
They are rolling like the Bills, man. And so we'll move into our Sunday games, with the first game being an interesting one between Cincinnati and Minnesota.
Yeah, so two teams without their starting quarterbacks, it looked like. Browning coming in, getting the victory against the Jaguars last week. Heroic quarterback dive.
Yeah, both teams' quarterbacks are out in this week, so we're going to see 2 backup quarterbacks, one being Jake Browning, which we saw last week, and Minnesota's backup being the good old Carson Wentz.
Yeah, wow, Carson Wentz. Not boding well for the Vikings.
And Justin Jefferson, I'm sure he'll still get some balls, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's the one luxury that both these backup quarterbacks have is they can chuck it to the 2 best receivers in the league.
It's crazy to think they both came from LSU, playing at the same time with Joe Burrow. That's the best college team I've ever seen as the LSU team. And they're, like you said, 2 of the top receivers in the league.
Yeah, and LSU is wide receiver U, clearly.
Very much so.
Well, I know who I like in this game, but I'll let you pick first since you have a big lead on me.
Hey, thank you. I will take a risk in this game. Like I said, Minnesota is 2.5-point favorites. This is my upset of the week. I think Jake Browning comes out and does it. I think Cincinnati wins this game in a close one. It's going to be a very frustrating game to watch with 2 backup quarterbacks, probably a couple of mistakes. But I think Jake Browning's more ready, as he showed last week. And so I will take Cincinnati in this game with a score of, let's say, 23-20.
I do find it hard to believe Minnesota being favored. Are they home?
Yes, they are.
All right. I think I'm with you on this. I think the Bengals, I think, there's going to be some sloppy football played. But I think ultimately we're looking at like a 28-24 ball game. Cincinnati Bengals win.
Hey, so we both got the upset in that game. And so we'll move on to the next game, another 1 o'clock game in between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots.
Yeah, so surprising Patriots team, 1-1. Steelers, I think, are also surprising 1-1. I thought they would beat the Seahawks last week. They had some blunders. This is a well-coached team, though, so I think they do clear those up. Talent-wise, I feel like Pittsburgh has more weapons.
I completely agree. New England struggling a bit on offense, still a good defense though. I could see this being a low-scoring game. Pittsburgh, man, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, I think they can do it. They showed it last week. Aaron Rodgers making good throws, just like you said, mental mistakes by the team that made them end up losing that game. But New England week 1, they just came out rusty against the Raiders team, but they obviously ironed out the rust, and now they beat Miami in a close game, but it was a good game by both teams. No, not really many mistakes.
Yeah, a lot of maturity shown from week 1 to week 2 with Drake May. Yeah,
completely agree.
I do think I like the veteran in this game, Aaron Rodgers, though. So I'm going to take the Steelers in this game to go 2-1. I think they iron out the kinks. I do think this is going to be one of those run-heavy, slobber-knocker type football games.
Oh, yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I like both these teams come to the end of the season as long as their quarterbacks stay healthy. But I'm going Pittsburgh 17-14.
Okay, I do think this is going to be a low-scoring game like you predict, but I don't think it's going to be run-heavy. I think Aaron Rodgers tosses that ball around a lot. I think Drake May can show that he can toss the ball around a lot, even though he's going to be under immense pressure with T.J. Watt. So the New England's going to have to come in with a good scheme to get that ball out of his hands fast. I think they do it, but I do think Pittsburgh wins. I think Aaron Rodgers, like you said, the vet's he's gonna win this game. So I'm gonna go Pittsburgh with around the same score of like 14-13.
Oh wow, really low scoring game.
Yeah, and so I guess we'll move on to the next game with another 1:00 game. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans. Colts are the 3.5-point favorites.
Wow, yeah, the Colts have been rolling, playing really great football. The defense looks stout. The offense is full of weapons. And then you have the Tennessee Titans, who really had 2 rough games in a row, having to play the Broncos and then the Rams.
Yeah, a bit of an easier defense, but you still got DeForest Buckner. Cam Bynum already coming out with 2 turnovers in this season, showing that it wasn't just that Minnesota Vikings defense, that he has the talent to go to another defense and still produce the same amount of turnovers.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor looks like, the Jonathan Taylor of old. Colts defense looks good. I'll say this, I think the Titans have played beyond expectations.
Both teams, I feel like.
Yeah, but it's going to be a tough haul for the Titans to overcome that Colts team.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. Both these teams are exceeding expectations. One is 2-0, and one is 0-2. But Cam Ward is just as good, I think, as Daniel Jones. It's just had tougher defenses to go up against so far.
Yeah, and less talent on his offense. Let's just be honest. I do think that the Colts do not cover in this game. Okay. But ultimately, I think they just have too many weapons for the poor Titans. Cam Ward, I think, plays exceptionally well in this game, but I just think the Colts are too much to overcome. I like the Colts in this game 24-21.
I think it's a good score, and I agree. I think 3.5 points is a great line. I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 point game. I am going to take the Colts, though, even though it's at Tennessee. It's going to be a great game. So I'm going to go Colts with a 27-24 victory.
I like it. I would not surprise me if the Titans pull out a win here, but I got to go with Danny Dimes.
Yeah, he's just more proven, I think, so far in this season. So we will move on to the next game. Another AFC South matchup, a division very much up for grabs, and it's between Houston and Jacksonville.
This is my game of the week.
Jacksonville is only 1.5 point favorite, so it's a projected really good game as well.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is playing probably his best football. He's got some weapons on his team finally. The defense is still not great, and I think it's going to be one of those back and forth games. It's a lot of fun. It's going to come down to who has the ball last, who doesn't make the big mistake.
Yeah, just like in the Houston-Tampa Bay game last week, came down to the last possession. I could see this ending up being just about the same exact score.
Yeah, and you said the Jaguars are favored in this game?
Yes, by only 1.5 points.
Wow. If this was not my game of the week, I might have picked this as my upset of the week. I think Houston gets off the snide here. I think C.J. Stroud plays a solid football game. And I think they, show why they've been 2-time division champs. So I'm going to go. With a higher scoring game. I like Houston to win. Let's say 31-24.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to go with the home team this week in Jacksonville. I do think the defenses show out a little bit more. Houston's defense maybe rattles Trevor Lawrence a bit, and I think that's going to be a big thing. But I do think Trevor Lawrence gets through it. I think they start running the ball with Travis Etienne. He also had another big game, and I go Jacksonville in a 23-21 victory.
I'm not mad at it at all. I've enjoyed watching this Jacksonville team so far this year, and I'd like to see them do well.
Yeah, I like that Jacksonville team as well. And we'll move on to the next game with Atlanta being 6.5-point favorites against Carolina at Carolina.
Wow. Yeah, that's a high. I mean, Atlanta has played exceptionally well, and I think the Panthers have played really poorly. I think that's a trap right there. I think that is a trap.
Trap alert.
Yeah, trap alert for sure. I really like Penix has really surprised me.
Yes.
Of course, he is a young guy that has a lot of talent on that team, and the Panthers don't have the weapons that Atlanta does.
Very much agree. Yeah, I think Penix has exceeded my expectations. The defense has exceeded my expectations. The Panthers' offensive weapons have been disappointing. Bryce Young disappointing, and so I think I'm going to take Atlanta in this game. I want to take them in a little bit of a high-scoring game. I'll go 28-27 Atlanta.
Oh, I like that 1 point spread on that, huh?
Yeah, I think Atlanta lets up a couple points at the end, but Raheem Morris locks his team and they just run out the clock with Bijan.
Yeah, I can't just, I pulled so hard for Bryce Young, but I just don't see it at this point. I think Atlanta wins, and I think they win convincingly. I think it's going to be like a 31-21 victory for the Falcons.
Hey, I'm not mad at that. I think it's a great score for this game. So we'll move on to the next 1 o'clock game. A really good game this week. The Rams at Philadelphia.
Oof. Now, the Rams have to travel across the country and play one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for that Rams offense, who's been playing really well this season. But the Rams defense has been playing really well as well. So I think it's going to be a really good defensive matchup. It's going to be a really good low-scoring game.
Yeah, the Rams really had the Eagles on the ropes in the playoffs last year.
Yes, they did.
And Stafford has looked great so far, but Hurts has looked good as well. I mean, this, like we talked about earlier, this Eagles team is probably talent-wise, top to bottom, one of the best teams, the best team in the league.
Yeah, like you said, the Rams played them the best out of any team, even in the Super Bowl. So it's a good matchup, two good defenses.
Yeah, the Eagles have played 2 tough games in a row. And that's why I'm picking this as my upset of the week.
I like that. Good upset of the week.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a slobber knocker. I like how the Rams play. I don't think they're a better team, but they do seem to have the Eagles' kryptonite. I think it was a fluke that the Eagles beat them last year, and then the Eagles are clearly better than anybody else they played after that.
Very true.
I think the Rams get a little revenge here. And I think they win 21-17.
I like that. If there's anyone that can stop that tush-push, it's that Sean McVay defensive line. It's a tough group of people, and that the linebacker core can, they're athletic. They can get up there and maybe drag Jalen Hurts down. I think it's a really good matchup for the Rams. I don't think they win. I think maybe the Eagles get that one turnover at the end of the game to put them in a good position to get a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, they just keep handing it to him, and he gets the touchdown. And so I will go with the Eagles with a 20-18 victory.
It's fair. I think there's a reason why they're Super Bowl champions and a reason why they're already undefeated so far this year.
Yeah, very good game, though. And so we'll move on to the next game with the New York Jets at Tampa Bay.
Oh, this one's got upset alert all over it, too. The Bucs really have gotten lucky 2 weeks in a row.
Very true. And the Jets got very unlucky 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. Very good game week 1, and then just a couple turnovers to switch that game around to the Bills.
Yeah, I think this will be a much closer game for the Jets than last week. I do like the Bucs, man. They're a very talented team. Baker seems to have that swagger back that he had when he first came in the league. Only now it's more tempered, and he's more team oriented, and he looks like a top tier quarterback.
Yeah, very true. Towards the beginning of his career, maybe he'd pout a little bit on the sidelines. You don't see that anymore. He's pumping up his players. When he gets tackled, hit hard, he gets up, talks shit to the defenders. So he still has that fiery spirit, but he just uses it in a much more positive way for his team to lead his team. I think this is a high-scoring game. I think Tampa Bay is really good, and so, oh man, though, I like the Jets too. I want to hear yours first, and if you have any more thoughts, go ahead.
I tell you, it's hard to shake the bake. The Jets are a tough team. I think this will be a tough game. I'm not going to designate it as a slobber knocker. I do think the Buccaneers will score more points. I don't think it's going to be a low scoring game, but I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game either. I think this is a game that comes down to probably the last possession again. And in my opinion, I think the Bucs get lucky another week in a row, and I think they win this game like 27-24. I think that's what I'm going with. Bucs by 3.
I think it's going to be even a little bit more high scoring than that. I do think Vita Vea kind of reins in Justin Fields' running ability, but I think Justin Fields shows up and he throws the ball well like he did in Week 1. I think he has a bounce back game. It's a tough game. I think the Jets get the win.
Oh.
And in like a 34-31 victory, it's going to come down to who has the ball last. Justin Fields is going to get there.
So the Bucs luck runs out, and you got Jets for the upset.
I do. I think Bucs go 2-1, and Jets get their first victory on the board 1-2. And so we'll move on to the next game, another 1:00 game between Las Vegas at Washington, with Jaden Daniels being questionable for this week's game.
Yeah, that's a big question mark. The Packers game took a toll on Washington.
As a whole, we're missing an O lineman and Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, and well, not just that. So you trade away your starting running back from last year, and Austin Eckler tears an ACL.
Yeah, it's very big.
You cut your starting defensive end from last year, and now your new starter goes down, and he may be out for the year as well, and Dedrick Weiss. It's good that they brought in that extra depth. They're going to need it now. It wouldn't surprise me if they move Kinlaw to defensive end because he's a better run stopper than what they have, and then they sub in some pass rushers, and then in the middle, probably a heavy dose of Goldman and Jazari Newton taking Kinlaw's place. At any rate, I still think they do a fairly good job against the run. I like Ashton Jeanty in this game. Possible boom. But I, at the end of the day, I think Washington is the more rounded team, we'll say. And the Raiders are traveling across country. I like Washington in this game.
Yeah, I like that prediction. Geno with a couple of turnovers already this season. Maybe Washington causes a few. That could be the difference. If Las Vegas keeps on the ground with Ashton Jeanty, I could definitely see Ashton Jeanty having a big game and being a big boom for fantasy. It's going to be a really good game. It could come down to which defense is better, and I do think Washington may have a better secondary and a better linebacker core, but I think the Raiders have a better defensive line.
Yeah, definitely with Max Crosby in there, that defensive line is always, tough. And the kid from, what was his name? Lulu?
Yeah, Lulu with 2 sacks last week against Justin Herbert in that good O-line.
Yeah, so that's a tough order, and whether Jaden plays or not, that's going to be the struggle. I do think Mariota is good enough to beat the Raiders in this game if Jaden doesn't play. I like Washington in a close one. I think it's going to be like, let's go 20-17.
Wow, my score was just around there. And so I guess I'll go with like a 24-21 Washington. I'm also going with Washington. And so we'll move on to the next game. Another 1:00 in between Green Bay and Cleveland.
Oof. Poor Cleveland.
Another tough game for Cleveland. Starting off with those 3 opponents is tough. They almost won one in Week 1. I don't think they even get close this week. I think Green Bay comes out. The defense is just as dominant as it's been all season. I think they keep the ball on the ground, give Jordan Love a little bit of break because he's been having to put the team on his back the first 2 weeks against 2 hard opponents. Let him take a little bit of break if it's Josh Jacobs, and you hand it off to A.J. Dillon in the backfield, and you get that run game starting up.
Yeah, Packers just too good for this game. I do think the Browns probably play better than people anticipate, but I don't think it's close. I like the Packers in this game. I'm going to go 35-17.
Yeah, I like that scoring, so I will go with 32-14.
Yeah, I think we might be being generous with the Browns.
They've put up over 10 points both games this season. They've been down a lot. Like last game, they were down a lot and they got a couple touchdowns late. But I do think Green Bay just puts them away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so we'll go on to the next game in between Denver at LA Chargers. Chargers being 2.5-point favorites. I'm guessing because they're starting off with 2-0 and a really good team so far.
Yeah, the Chargers look great. The Broncos have been tough too. Really, other than Bo Nix's kind of rough game one, the Broncos have looked outstanding.
Yeah, they should be 2-0, but they just, that penalty at the end of the last game really cost them.
Yeah, I think this will be a really fun game to watch. It'll really depend on Bo Nix, I think. I think it comes down to, Herbert is a great regular season quarterback, and I think he's going to play good under the pressure of the Broncos defense, which is the better defense.
Agree.
But I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Bo Nix, and can he deliver against this Chargers defense, which is a quality defense as well.
Yeah, I think this game comes down to who makes the less mistakes, who makes the less turnovers.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, because I think Bo Nix could throw interceptions because that's just, who he is. And I think Herbert's going to have a tough time against the best defense he's played all season, the Denver defense. And I think Dre Greenlaw has a chance of coming back this week. That's going to be just another addition to that already stacked Denver defense. Dre Greenlaw is a leader. When he got hurt in the Super Bowl, his team rallied around him. He came back last year towards the end of the year, and he played pretty well. I think he's fully healthy now. You're going to see all of Dre Greenlaw in this game.
Yeah, the Broncos defense is scary. And the one thing, the knock I do have on the Chargers is they don't have like the greatest weapons that's in the NFL, right? They have a good, solid team. They run the ball well. I'm not being disparaging when I say that, but they don't have Justin Jefferson.
I mean, Justin Herbert does a good job getting the ball around. Quentin Johnson maybe not had a good first season. He dropped a couple balls last season. This season he's proven himself. Ladd McConkey's still really good. Keenan Allen showing that age is not affecting him. I think they have some good weapons around the receiving core, but I will say their tight end and running back core flags.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, like you said, who makes the least amount of mistakes in this game. It's hard to go against the Chargers here. I think I'm going to take the Chargers in a rough and tumble game, a 17-14 victory for LA.
Yeah, I like that score. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to go with the Chargers winning 21-20. Really good close game.
Excellent.
All right, we'll move on to our next game, which is New Orleans at Seattle, and Seattle being 7.5-point favorites. Huge.
Yeah, that's a big score coverage there. I feel like the Saints are not a good team, but they have played better than people anticipated. Spencer Rattler is not a complete dirt, and the defense has, showed some pride. Now, what I've learned a lot of times with teams like this, you do see the defense start out playing well at the beginning of the season, but as that season goes along, as injuries start to stack up, as they have to spend more and more time on the field, they tend to break down.
Yeah, it's tough to play that good of defense for that long, and your offense not rewarding how good your defense is.
Yes, that being said, Alvin Kamara seems to still be playing well. Rashid Shaheed, I like him a lot as a receiver and special teams player. The Saints have a chance in this game, and I do think they at least cover the spread in this, as Seattle has not played their best football yet.
I completely agree. I think New Orleans causes a couple of turnovers. I think Seattle, after like Sam Darnold maybe fumbles or throws an interception, they're like, okay, we'll just stick to the run game. And they just run it down their throats with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet like they've been doing. They're a good offense, good defense. I think it's going to be a lot of turnovers in this game. So I think it's going to be a lot of field goals. So I'm going to go with Seattle in this game with a 20-16 victory.
Okay, I like that. I do think at the end of the day, Seattle's just a little too much. It's hard to play in Seattle.
Exactly.
The 12th man is a real thing, especially when you're a struggling team. And so I think that they're going to be a lively bunch. I do think there will be turnovers on both sides of the football, but I like Seattle in this game. I think it's a 24-21 victory.
All right, so we're on the same page on that one. And we'll move on to the next one. NFC West Division battle in between Arizona and San Francisco.
Two undefeated teams here, right?
Yeah, two undefeated teams. San Francisco's had a little bit of a rougher road, but both teams beat New Orleans, which is one of the worst teams.
So I think the big question here is the quarterback for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. Brock Purdy out in this game. Mac Jones playing again.
And Mac Jones, can he stay consistent? I think in New England he had his struggles. And so, is this truly Shanahan magic? Or does Mac Jones have a dud of a game and the Cardinals take advantage of it?
I could see both happening, but I do think Kyle Shanahan's offense is quarterback for dummies. It's literally the easiest thing you can do, just timing routes and giving it to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's pretty easy in any offense when you have Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Shanahan. I know they have a lot of injuries, and Arizona's more healthy, and Arizona's been playing really well on both sides of the football. It's going to be a really good game. Arizona has offensive weapons like Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, and James Conner. It's just so much talent on the field this week.
Yeah, so you're saying that being the quarterback for the 49ers is almost as easy as being the Colts punter?
Yeah, it's very, very easy this season.
Yeah, so I think the Niners defense has been playing exceptionally well. Fred Warner shows he's still, one of the top linebackers in the league. But I like the Cardinals in this game. I think they get the early win with Purdy being out. I do think it is a close game. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. So the line in this game is irrelevant, and maybe you go over or under with your betting in this. Stay away from the line. But I like the Cardinals in this game. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. But I think at the end of the day, Mac Jones made some mistake, and the Cardinals jump on it. And I'm going to say it's a tough one to score because the defense is so good for the Niners. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go Cardinals, and I'm going to say it's a 28-25 victory.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see everything you're saying. But I also think Kyler Murray, with that San Francisco defense, is his toughest opponents this year. And so I think he makes a couple of mistakes. I still think Kyler is confident, and he's really good, and he's going to keep that confidence. But I think he makes one mistake that kind of changes the game. San Francisco wins this one. And I'm going to go San Francisco in a 24-21 victory.
Okay, I can see that game going either way.
Yeah, I completely agree. Both scores are very possible. Very good game. Make sure you watch on your TVs this week. So we'll move on to the next game between Dallas at Chicago.
Sorry.
I'm going to just let you know who's the favorites.
Okay.
The home team's being the favorites in this one.
Wow, yeah, this game could be the Bears are favored.
Yeah, I guess because it's at home. It's hard to play in Chicago sometimes. Maybe it's going to be a cold night. It's a 4 o'clock game.
Wow, that's interesting. I would not have suspected that. Seems almost like a trap.
Yeah, I completely
agree. So that's a trap alert, guys. But the Giants, the Cowboys have a lot of weapons, and the Bears defense has played well at times. Montez Sweat has looked great this year.
Yes.
Stevenson, the safety, I think is a potential Pro Bowler player within a year or two.
Jalen Johnson, the talent all over the field. Can Caleb Williams deliver?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. We know what we got in Dak. We know what we have in those receivers. And we know what the Bears have at receiver.
Exactly.
Can Caleb put it together in week 3? Can he get this Ben Johnson offense to rolling? And can they pull off, I guess not an upset. It's a favored win. So I would have never imagined that they are favored. I think at the end of the day, this could be a lot like that Cowboys-Giants game last week.
Agreed.
But I got to go Cowboys in this game.
I think, like we said, Dallas's secondary isn't the best. It's definitely the worst secondary Caleb's gone up against this year. I think, like we said, if he sticks to that Ben Johnson offense, which is timing routes, if he just stays calm and collected, and he throws the ball out on time, I think that he could win this game. But it is going to be a close one. I could see it going either way. It's a good line here.
Yeah, I'm going Cowboys 31-30.
It's a really good score. I'm going to flip that around, and I will go with the Chicago Bears winning 30-28.
All right. Wow. So we've got a few different games this week. Looks like one of us may be having another bad week.
Yeah. All right, we move on to our next game with Kansas City playing at New York in a Sunday night game against the Giants. Kansas City, big favorites.
Yeah, if the Giants could steal a win here, it really puts Kansas City in a bind.
Starting 0, like both of these teams could start 0-3. No one would have expected that from Kansas City. I think everyone would have expected that from the Giants.
Absolutely, and I think if Russell wins this game, New York goes crazy and everyone's buying Russell Wilson jerseys. But
yeah, I completely agree. I think Kansas City needs this one. I think they come out on top. I think Kansas City wins this one big in a, let's go, 30-17 victory.
Oh wow, you think so?
Yes.
I think I like the Giants' deep threat. Russell is not afraid to throw it up for grabs. He's got Malik Neighbors to try to haul it in. I think the Giants get some big plays against Kansas City.
I can definitely see that.
But ultimately, I think Chris Jones is going to wreak havoc, and poor Russ is going to be running for his life like he was in Week 1.
Exactly.
So I think Kansas City does win this game as well, but I think it's more of a 28-20 game.
Yeah, I like that. So we'll move on to the next game, the last game of the week. My game of the week in this Monday night matchup in between Detroit at Baltimore. Baltimore being 4.5-point favorites, even though both of these teams are 1-1. One loss against a really, really good team, Super Bowl contenders. One win against a not so good team.
And Detroit showed they can still put up a lot of points.
Agree.
Absence at Packers defense against the Bears just had no answer for Detroit whatsoever. The question really for me is, well, twofold. For Detroit, is can their defense show up and play football? Because I don't feel like they have this year yet.
I agree.
If you would have told me that they would miss Aaron Glenn more than Ben Johnson, I would probably not have agreed with you. But so far through Week 2, that's what it looks like.
Yes.
As far as the Ravens go, is can they beat the upper echelon teams? Can they win that close game? So the game's at Baltimore.
It is at Baltimore.
I really like Lamar Jackson in this game. I think he pulls a Jaden Daniels in the championship game against Detroit again last year. I foresee that playing out again, but I do think this is going to be a high-scoring, high-powered game.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I like Derrick Henry and Gibbs in this game as well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry needing a bounce-back game, only scoring 2 fantasy points last week.
Yeah, I don't know why that was. I think they just didn't really need him as much.
I agree. He fumbled once early in the game. They already had such a big lead, and they just said, we'll sit you this week.
Yeah, I mean, I like him and Gibbs both in this game this week. I'm betting high on the offensive players.
Agreed.
Zay Flowers, D-Hop, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta. I think all these guys are going to show out. It's going to be a really fun night game to watch.
Oh, it's gonna be. I'm staying up for that one. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Baltimore 35-31 in the victory.
Okay, and I agree. I'm gonna go Baltimore in a high-scoring game, even more high-scoring. I think it's gonna look a lot like that Baltimore-Buffalo game in Week 1, where it's 2 40-point teams, and it's gonna come down to who has the ball last. I think Baltimore has the ball last, and I think Lamar does a great 2-minute drill and wins that game, 42-40.
Oh wow, really shooting. So he's saying go for the over for sure.
For sure. I'm completely on the over. And so speaking about fantasy booms or bust, we're going to move on to our fantasy boom and bust segment. Thoughts on this week's fantasy players?
Okay, well, last week, just to recap, both my booms hit big, but I was certainly wrong about my bust. I thought Tyler Warren would struggle against the Denver defense, and he did not. He had a great game there. So I'm interested to see how he continues to play, but I'm also interested to see if I'm wrong about my bust again. How did you do last week?
Well, I missed on all 3 of my fantasy players last week. Don't take your fantasy advice from me, I guess. I missed both my booms with Ricky Pearsall and Ladd McConkey, and I missed my bust in James Cook. James Cook, great week. Pearsall, not as big as I expected. And Ladd McConkey did all right, but not the points I projected. And so I'll send it back to you since you were the winner of last week's fantasy boom or bust. What's your first boom?
Oh, my boom this week is I'm a little worried now that we've learned J.J. McCarthy's out. But
true.
with Aaron Jones out, I like Jordan Mason. He's got a pretty high projection, but I like how these teams stack up. I think it's going to be a favorable matchup for him, and I think he has a big game.
Yeah, I agree with that. If Carson Wentz throwing the ball, he wants the ball on the ground as much as possible. And Aaron Jones is out this week. Minnesota's really hurting this week. And so I'll give my first boom, which is I think Zach Ertz has a big week with Marcus Mariota entering the game. Only projected 8 fantasy points. And I think he goes for 10 plus. I think he gets a touchdown and at least 4 catches.
I think fantasy overall always underestimates him in his touchdown capability. He had a big game last week. He had a great year last year. I like that pick.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, moving on to my second boom in that Bears-Cowboys game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I like Rome Odunze in that one to have a big game against the Cowboys secondary.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Boom. I think he's going to have a big week this week. Only projected 15 fantasy points. I think he definitely gets 20 plus in this game. Maybe another touchdown. I think he's going to have a good game. But my second boom of the week is going to be Josh Jacobs against that Cleveland. I think they, like I said, I think they let Jordan Love not throw the ball as much to keep it on the ground. Josh Jacobs projected 21 fantasy points. I think he gets 25 plus this week in a really good game.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a big projection. If you got him, I mean, you probably were going to start him anyway, but man,
Exactly.
now you can have a little more confidence in him.
Exactly.
My bust, and I hate doing busts a lot of times because I like this player in particular. I just think it's a bad matchup for him this week, and the Broncos do a two-headed monster anyway with Dobbins and Harvey. So I've got R.J. Harvey as my bust this week. I think they're going to, in a close game, rely more on Dobbins and the 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of play. And I think Harvey gets less touches. And I think, unfortunately for him, when he does get the ball, it's going to be a hard row to hoe.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a close game where they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more. And I like that bust of the week. My bust of the week is going to be Kyren Williams, projected 19 points against a really good Eagles defense. Well, last week, Isaiah Pacheco had a really tough time against Jalen Carter. I think Kyren Williams does the same. And they've been giving the ball to Blake Corum a little bit more. So I think I think they do the same. They give it to Blake Corum, give it to Kyren. But it's just not going to go anywhere. They're going to have to rely on Matthew Stafford this week.
Yeah, I think for the Rams to come out on top, it's not going to be in the running game.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're going to have to put it on Stafford's back, and I think that that's a high projection to have against the Eagles defense. So I like that call.
Thank you. And, so we'll move on to our trivia question of the day. We got a good one here. This time we're going to switch it up though. I'm going to ask him the trivia question. And so my trivia question of the week is, who are the top 5 NFL active sack leaders?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. I think my first guess, though, is you got to go with Old Man River, Von Miller.
Von Miller is number 1 with 130 sacks in his 14-year career.
All right, yeah. Now I think it gets tougher for me, and so I think about outside linebackers, edge rushers, or is it one of these veteran defensive tackles? I think I'm going to guess Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, not a bad guess, in the top 10, but not top 5.
Oh, okay. So I get one more guess?
We'll give you 3 more guesses. It's going to be a little bit of a longer trivia.
Oh, well, okay. Well, then let's go with someone that's been around the league a little while, but maybe Hendrickson?
That's a really good guess. Another top 10 in the sacks and active leaders, but no, he's not top 5.
Oh, wow, okay. I'm going to go with another older player, and my guess is Calais Campbell.
Calais Campbell, great guess. He's number 3 in the leaderboard with 112 and a half sacks.
Yeah, man, he just doesn't get old.
No, he's still doing it. Got a sack last week against Bryce Young.
Wow, okay. And so now it gets really tough. I've got 2 of the 5.
And you have one more guess.
One more guess. Let me think here. Someone who's been around the league a little while. Someone who would be sack heavy, edge rusher maybe. Aaron Donald's gone.
Not active anymore.
Yeah, that would be a great guess if he still played.
Yeah. He would be number 1 for sure.
Oh, man. Can I get a hint?
Yeah, no problem. In our number 5 slot, it is someone from the same draft year as Trey Hendrickson in 2017.
T.J. Watt, maybe?
T.J. Watt in the number 5 position with 108 sacks, beating out Myles Garrett by only 2 sacks, even though they were drafted in the same year.
Wow, so those 3 guys were really climbing the ladder fast.
Yeah, it's crazy how many sacks that class has produced.
So I left them number 2 and number 4 on the list.
2 and 4. Make sure to leave your guesses in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and comment about what you think your fantasy boom or bust are this week.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear your upset picks as well. Please like and subscribe, and we hope you enjoy the Man to Man Sports Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to our episode 5, week 3 preview, and sick 'em dogs.
All right.